We are starting with exercise 1a. Okay, we have the first question, question number 1. It says that you have 2x square plus 5x and then minus 7, right? So what's our first step? We are going to solve this quadratic equation with the help of the middle term break. We are going to solve this quadratic equation with the help of the middle term break. And how do you solve the quadratic equation through middle term break? That first of all you always take the number which is without any variable, which is 7 in this case, right? And then you multiply it with the value which is behind x square. You always take the number which is without any variable, which is 7 in this case, and then you multiply it with the number which is behind x square, right? So that's gonna be 2. So 7 times 2 is 14. Now keep this 14 in your mind, right? Keep this number in your mind. Keep this number in your mind. Okay, and now you need to think of two numbers. You need to think of two numbers which when multiplied, you need to think of two numbers which when multiplied will give you 14. So you should think of two numbers which when multiplied will give you 14, and when added or subtracted will give you your middle term, which is 5. Okay, so when I think about these two numbers, I can think of 7 and 4, right? Because 7 and 2, because 7 times 2 is 14. So two numbers when multiplied will give me 14, that's 7 and 2. And the same number should add or subtract to give me my middle term. So yes, 7 and 2 can actually subtract. 7 and 2 can actually subtract to give you your middle term, which is 5, right? So that means that the two numbers that I'm looking for is 7 and 2. The two numbers that I'm looking for are 7 and 2. So now I'm going to break my middle term into 7 and 2. That's why it's called middle term breaking, right? So I'm going to write 2x square plus 7x minus 2x, right? So you see how I broke my 5x into 7 and 2, right? That's why it's called middle term breaking, and the minus 7 remain as it is. Now after that, what is our next step? Our next step is to take common in these two and then take common in these two, right? So can you tell me what's that common that we can take in the first two?
In the x will be outside the bracket, and the back will be 2x plus 7.
Absolutely correct. And what about the second one?
Then you can take this minus 1.
So I can take minus 1 as common and I'll be left with 2x plus 7. Absolutely correct, right? And remember that these two brackets should always be the same. If these two brackets are not same, that means your working is wrong somewhere, right?
There will be x minus 1, 2x plus 7.
Absolutely correct. No, that's not the answer, because you are not supposed to factorize. You are supposed to solve. Solve means that you have to calculate the value of x, right? So if I have to solve, that's not my answer. I will keep both of them equal to 0, right? And then
you multiply it.
no, like I taught you that first of all we keep the brackets equal to 0, and then we write 2x plus 7 is equal to 0 and x minus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, and therefore x is gonna be equal to 1. That's my first value, whereas my second value is gonna be 2x is equal to minus 7 and x is equal to minus 7 over 2. That's my second value of x. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, so you see I have two values, x is equal to minus 7 over 2 and I have x is equal to 1. Any problem?
No.
Okay, so now I'm just gonna
it's minus 3.5.
yeah, minus 7 divided by 2, you can, if you write it in decimal, that's gonna be minus 3.5. okay, so now look at the question number 1 part A, and look at the entire solution. This is what the entire solution looks like. Okay,
Let's copy it.
yes, you should copy it. All right, copy it, part 1. Give, and remember that use a different register for this exercise, and give the proper heading of exercise 1A, question number 1 part A, and then write the solution. Okay, now I want you to look at part number B. Now I'm going to zoom in so that you can have a clear view of part B. So this is what part B says. It says that you have 4x square minus 5x, right, minus 6 is equal to 0. Now again, first of all, just answer what I ask you. First of all, tell me that is this a quadratic equation, part number B?
If you have to do is anything that makes 6 is 3 times 2 to
No. My question to you is that is this a quadratic equation or no?
Yes.
Right. So how do you solve a quadratic equation? With the help of what? The middle term break, right? And let's just quickly recall how did we learn to solve quadratic equation through middle term break. Just like we did in part number A, we are going to use the same method. So what did we learn? That first of all, take the value without any variable and multiply it with the value which is behind x square. If
What
x
is
square
2x?
has, okay, listen to this point very carefully, that if x square has no value behind it, if x square has no value behind it, then we assume that it's 1, right? But right now it has a value which is 4. So 6 and 4, 6 and 4, just multiply these two values, 6 and 4, that's going to be equal to what?
24. Then you could do another. Oh no, less. Then you could do 8 times 3, which is 24. The 8 minus 3 is 5.
Absolutely correct, very good. Like I said, that you always take two numbers which when multiplied will give you 24, and when added or subtracted will give you your middle term which is 5. Okay, so again now you have to think of two numbers, and you thought correctly that it should be 8 and 3, because 8 and 3 is 24, right? And 8 minus 3 should be 5, right? So now we are going to break our middle term. Obviously, so I'm going to write minus 8x and plus 3x. Why? Because minus plus is minus, 8 minus 3 is 5, and the sign is always of the greater number, so it has to be, the greater number has to be with a negative sign. That's what you need to make sure. Okay, so 4x square minus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. So I broke down minus 5x into minus 8x plus 3x. Minus 6 remain as it is, equal to 0. Okay, because the whole objective is to break your middle term break, and this is what we follow to get the correct two values in which we can break our middle term. Okay, so after that what we have to do, that we have to take common. So what can we take common in these two first? Can you tell me what can we take common in these two?
You can take that as x and also since 4 and 8 both multiplied. The first will be 4x, and the bracket will be x minus 2.
Yes, we can take 4x as common, and the bracket is gonna be x minus 2. Good. What about these two?
The both in 3 times table will be 3, the in the bracket will be x minus 2 because there.
Exactly.
And then you 4x plus 3 in one bracket, x minus 2 in another bracket. So you need the 4x plus 3, and the value of x will be minus 0.75, and the other one that x will equal to positive.
Yeah, let's go. That is correct, right? That we have same brackets, x minus 2 and x minus 2, so we took that as common. Then we have 4x plus 3, so we make a bracket of that. And then we have x minus 2 is equal to 0, 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. We are going to solve them individually, so x is going to become 2, right? That's the first value. The second value is going to be how much? You send the positive 3 to the other side, so it becomes 4x is equal to minus 3, and therefore x is equal to minus 3 over 4. That's our second value, right? Did you get both the values correct?
Yes, and I'm copying it. But
Great.
you can also do minus 3 over 4, where it is minus 0.75.
Yeah, if you convert it into into decimal, yes, but you can just leave into fraction also. That is also acceptable. Okay, so anyways, the answer is x equals to 2 and x equals to minus 3 over 4. Alright, so that is part number B. Alright, now moving on to part number C. What do you see in part number C? It says 7x plus x square minus 18. Okay, first of all, let me copy it down and then...
You can arrange it, which is x square plus
Absolutely.
7 minus 18 equals 0. Then you
Yep.
square it.
So you still remember the concept from our classes that whenever you have a question like this, you have to rearrange it, right? So I'm going to write 7x plus x square minus 18 is equal to 0, right? That's my part number C. Let me just cross check. Yes, that is correct. And like you said, first of all, what are we going to do?
9 times 2, 9 times, wait. Yes, 9 times 2 is 18, and 9 minus 2 is 7.
Yes, so first of all, let me arrange it, okay, and then we'll see what you're saying is correct or no. So first of all, I'm going to write x squared term first, because you guys know that first of all, whenever you are using middle term break, the way to arrange middle term break is that the term or the value or the variable with the square comes first, then comes the 7x, right, the number with x, and then we have the number without any variable, and that's equal to 0. Okay, now
Basically,
now
ax squared plus bx plus c.
Yes, x square plus 7x minus 18. Now we can take this 18, which is without any variable, and times it by the value behind x square, which is 1. So that's 18, right? And now I have to think of two numbers which when multiplied will give me 18,
9
and
times 2
which,
is 18. 9 minus 2 is 7.
yes, which when added and subtracted will give me the middle term, which is 7. Okay, so the point is that now you have to think of two numbers. And which two number did you tell me? 9 and 2, right?
And 9 minus 2 is 7.
Yep, exactly correct. 9 times 2 is 18, and 9 minus 2 would be 7. So now we have the two numbers, so we are going to write x square plus 9x minus 2x. Why? Because you know that plus 9x and minus 2x is gonna be 7x, and the sign is always of the greater number. So what's the sign with 7x? Plus. So the greater number should also has a plus sign, so that can be carried to your answer, right? And then minus 18 is equals to 0. Then we take common in these two and in these two. So what can we take common in the first two? X, right? So it's gonna be x plus 9. And in the second one, what can we take as common? Minus 2. So it's gonna be x plus 9.
I'm finished the question now.
You're finished with the question? Good. Now can you just tell me if the answer that we are getting is correct or no? Just stay with me, okay? So the first value is gonna be x plus 9 is equal to 0, and the second one is gonna be x minus 2 is equal to 0, right? So therefore
Yes.
x is equals to minus 9 and x is equals to 2. So these are the two values of x. Are you getting the same one?
Yes.
Good, very good. Alright, so that is part number C also done. This is the complete solution of part number C. Alright, now let's move forward to the next question. What does the next question say? Part number D. It says 4 minus 3x minus x square is equal to 0. Now there is one more point that I need to teach over here, and that is,
It's the same thing. So minus x squared minus 3x plus 4.
first of all, you just copy down the question, and there's just one thing that you need to understand. That is that first of all, yes, you are right that you have to rearrange it. You write the term with x square first, then the term with x second, and the term without any variable in the last, right? That is correct. But there is one more thing that you need to understand, that is that you can never have your, you know, term with the square as negative. You can never have your term with the square as negative. So that means you have to make it positive. So in order to make it positive, yeah, in order to make it positive, I'm going to send this entire equation to the other side. In order to make this positive, I'm going to send the entire equation to the other side. So if I send this entire equation to the other side, it's gonna become x square plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0. Okay, you can see that the sign of all the equation have changed because I have sent this entire equation to the other side. And again, why have I done that? So I can make my x square positive, because your x square can never be negative. Just in, you know, just make sure that this goes in your brain, that x square can never be negative. Okay, memorize this. Okay, so after I have sent this to the other side, now my equation becomes x square plus 3x minus 4. My x square has become positive. This is good. Now I'm going to start with my question. So now my value, which is without any variable, is 4, and the value behind x square is 1, right? So I'm going to do 4 times 1, that's going to be equal to 4. Just follow with me. Okay, so if you multiply two values, you're going to get 4, and you should add or subtract the same value to get your middle term, which is 3. Okay, so what are the two values? Can you tell me from your solution?
X equals to minus 1, x equals to minus 4.
No, you're telling me the answer. I'm asking you about the two values.
That's 4. 4 times 1, which is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3.
Can you tell me the two values first?
4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3.
Absolutely correct. So 4 and 1 are the two values we are looking for. So we are going to write x square plus, and now I'm going to break this 3x into two parts. So that means it's gonna be 4x plus 4x and minus 1x, because plus minus is minus and 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, and then minus 4 is equal to 0. Okay, now like we do, we take the common. So x, we are going to take x common. I'm going to be left with x plus 4 in the inside, and in this 2 I'm going to take minus 1 as common, so I'll be left with x plus 4 on the inside. Okay, and again both the brackets should be same. So yes, we are getting the same bracket, so that means our calculation is correct. And now I'm going to write x plus 4 one time, and x minus 1 I'm going to form a bracket of that, so that's equal to 0. And now x plus 4 is equal to 0 and x minus 1 is equal to 0. Therefore x is equals to -4 and x is equals to 1. So that's our two values of x, correct?
Okay, I got the same answer.
You got the same answer. That is absolutely good, absolutely correct, good. And that's our solution for part number D. That's our complete solution for part number D. Remember, in part number D, the new thing was that you had a negative x squared, so you had to send the entire equation to the other side so it becomes positive. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now let's
Yeah.
move to part number E. Let's move to part number E. What does part number E says? That we have x times 3x minus 1 equivalent to 2. So let's try to do this. This is obviously going to be a little different, because first you will have to multiply and simplify, and then you will have a quadratic equation which you can solve. Okay, so
But
what's
it'll be 3x squared minus 1x and equals 2. So bring 2 on the other side of the -2 and then basically then put it there.
Yeah, so basically let me just write the question first. This is the question, and like you said, that you first multiply it. So 3x times x is going to be 3x squared minus x times 1 is going to be x is equals to 2. Okay, and then obviously you can see now we can see a quadratic equation being formed if only we send this +2 to the other side, so it becomes -2, and now finally we have a quadratic equation. Right now all the steps remain the same, that you take the value without any variable and you multiply it with the value behind x squared. So that's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. Okay, now you think of two numbers which when multiplied will give you 6, and when added or subtracted will give you your middle value. By the way, what's the middle value in this case? What's the middle value in this case?
I don't know.
It's 1. If it's nothing there, it's 1. Okay, I told you, whenever there's nothing written, just assume it's 1. Okay, so we have 1 as our middle value. Okay, so now which are the two numbers? It can be 3 and 2, because 3 and 2, when you multiply them, that's when you get 6. 3 times 2 is 6, and if I subtract 3 and 2, I can get 1. Right, so I have my two values, so I'm going to write 3x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 2 is equals to 0. So I have broken down my minus x into minus 3x and plus 2x. Now remember, why did I put this minus sign with 3x? I could have also written it like this, plus 3x and minus 2x. Why have I written it like this? Because the sign with x is minus, so therefore I have to make sure that the sign with my greater value is also minus, because you know that the sign of the greater number is carried to your answer. Right, so if I solve this, it's going to be minus plus minus. 3 minus 2 is 1, which means x. You don't usually write 1 in maths, right? So you just write x, and the sign is of the greater number, which is minus x. So that's going to be correct answer. But if I would have written like this, then I would have gotten plus minus minus. 3 minus 2 is x, and the sign is of the greater number, which means plus x. But I don't need plus x, I need minus x. Right, so that is the logic why I have written it like this. Remember that. Okay, is that clear?
I understand.
Okay, good. Alright, so we have 3x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 2 is equals to 0. Now we are going to take common in these two, and then in these two. Right, so in these two, what can we take common? 3x. Right, so that's gonna be x minus 1, and in these two we can take 2 as common, so that's gonna be x minus 1. So first bracket is x minus 1, the second bracket is 3x plus 2. They both are going to be equal to 0, and then the first one is going to be x minus 1 is equal to 0, and therefore x is equals to 1. The second one is going to be 3x plus 2 is equals to 0, 3x is equals to minus 2, and therefore x is equals to minus 2 over 3. That's our second answer of x. So were you getting the same answers?
Let me check. I got the same answers.
You got the same answer for part number E, right? Did you understand part number E? Any problem?
No problem.
Alright, that's good. Now we are going to start with part number F. Though you have already started with it. You already finished with it. Yeah, but let's see how it's gonna be done. So let's do one thing. I'm going to solve part number F, and then you can just cross check with my solution. Okay, so part number F says 7 minus 3x times x plus 2 is equals to 4. So let me just copy down this question, and as you can fairly guess that first you will have to multiply and then simplify to form a quadratic equation, and then you solve it. Right, times it by x plus 2 is equals to 4. Okay, so I have 7x. Okay, by the way, how do you multiply these two brackets? Using the FOIL method. You use the
Yes.
FOIL method, right? Now what is the FOIL method? Like I taught you, that FOIL method is basically where you take the 7 and you first multiply it with x, and then you
14 minus
multiply it with
x
2. Absolutely correct. And then you multiply minus 3 with x, and then minus 3x with 2, right? So you just do one by one. You multiply both the values with both the other values one by one. Okay, so let's do it. First of all, 7 multiplied by x, that's gonna be 7x. Then 7 multiplied by 2, that's gonna be 14. Then minus 3x multiplied by x, that's gonna be minus 3x square. And then minus 3x multiplied by plus 2, that's gonna be minus 6x. Okay, and then we are going to rearrange it to form our quadratic equation. So it's going to be minus 3x square. Oh, not to forget that there is also an equal to 4, right? Don't forget that. So minus 3x square
Yes,
minus
after you
6x
phone
plus
that side.
7x
Yeah.
plus 14 minus 4 is equal to 0, right?
Yeah.
You bring the like terms together. Then minus 3x square, this minus plus becomes minus. 6 minus 7 is 1x, and the sign is of the greater number, right? And plus 14 and minus 4 is going to be plus 10. That's equal to 0. Now you can see that after simplifying it,
I just multiplied something wrong.
you just multiplied something wrong. Just see what you did wrong. 7 times x, 7x.
I minus 6. It's a minus 6x. I just want to correct it. Wait.
Yeah, because minus 3x times plus 2, minus plus minus, and 3x times 2 is 6x, right? So you have to correct it.
Yeah, I'm correcting.
Okay, let me know when you are done correcting it.
Done.
Alright, good. Now just focus on the screen that after simplifying we got minus 3x square plus x plus 10, right? So remember this, I just explained this above, that your x square can never be negative. If it's negative, then we send the entire equation to the other side of the equation. So after sending it to the other side of the equation, it becomes 3x square minus x minus 10 is equal to 0, correct? You with me till here?
Yes.
Alright, now what we have to do, obviously we have to do the middle term break. So for that we always take the number which is without any variable, we multiply it with the number which is behind x square. So that's gonna be 10 times 3, which is 30. Then we think of two numbers which when multiplied will give us 30, and when added or subtracted will give us our middle value, which in this case is again 1, right? So what do you think, which are these two values?
What do you mean?
Think which can be the two values which when multiplied can give us 30, and when added or subtracted can give us 1.
5 and 5.
6 and
6 times 5, 30. 6 minus 5 is 1.
exactly, good. 6 times 5, which is 30, and 6 minus 5 can be 1, right? So that is absolutely correct. So I have my two values now, so I'm going to do the middle term break. 3x square, right, minus 6x plus 5x. So you can see minus plus is minus, 6 minus 5 is 1, and the sign is always of the greater number. Minus 10 is equals to 0, okay? And then obviously now I'm going to take these two common, and then something in these two, right? So first in these two, what can we take common? We can take 3x as common, so we'll be left with x minus 2, correct? And then in these two we can take 5 as common, so we'll be left with x minus 2, and these are equal to 0. And then one by one we're going to solve them. So x minus 2 is equal to 0, and 3x plus 5 is equal to 0. So therefore x is equal to 2. That's our first solution. And the second solution would be 3x is equal to minus 5, and therefore x is equal to minus 5 over 3. That's our second value of x. So we have our first value of x, which is equal to 2, and the second one, which is equal to minus 5 over 3. Any problem? Are you getting the same answer?
Yes.
Very good, right? So this is part number F, complete solution in front of you. Alright, just have a good look at your answers. If there's anything that you don't understand or you find difficult, just ask me, no problem.
I understand.
So our exercise 1A, question number 1 is completed. We have done all the parts. Alright, now we are going to start with question number 2.